Okay, so we're in the room. Yes, all right. Now, in this is part 1. This is your test. I'm going to go through a number of skills that is in your test for part 1 for linear, quadratics, and measurement. We're going to start with, and one of your things on your checklist was that you need to construct a line using different points, and you need to actually substitute that. Now, we have an equation here. Y is equal to 2 minus 2x plus 1. Now, that equation is here. Now, what we need to be able to do is we need to substitute the values for x and find the corresponding y value. You're not always going to be given the table. Sometimes you might be asked to construct a table between minus 3. Do you recall seeing this before? Yeah? That means that we've constructed a table from x equals minus 3 to positive 3. That's the same thing. Now, what we're going to do is when x equals... Now, I'll do the first one for you, and you might notice a bit of a pattern. When x equals minus 3, y is equal to minus 2. We're going to substitute minus 3 in, plus 1. Now, negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. So it's 6 plus 1, which is equal to 7. Like so. Now, we've done the first point. Now, what do you notice? Now, what you'll actually find is you can save yourself some time. What's the gradient of this line? Y equals mx plus c, where m is the gradient. What is the gradient in this case? Negative 2. So for every time we go across 1x, we're actually going up or down 2? Up. Down. Sorry. So therefore, let's think about what do you think negative 2 would be here? 5. And then what do you think the next one will be? 3, absolutely. There you go. 1.
Then negative.
Yep, negative 1, negative 3, negative 5. Okay, that's only when we're going across in ones. Okay? So you could actually finish that off. Now what we can do is it says draw a graph on the axis provided. So we literally need to just sketch the points. Now remember that x comes before y in the alphabet. So therefore, when I'm sketching coordinates, we're always sketching the x first and then the y. So we've got to go to negative 3, positive 7. So that's actually going to be up here. And then negative 2, positive 5, which is going to be... Yeah. Oh, actually, sorry. Negative 3, positive 7 was here. My bad. Okay, that's all right. And we go across to negative 1, 3.
Then 0,
what's the y-intercept?
1.
The y-intercept is 1. Yeah, that's right. And we've got 1, negative 1. And you get the idea. 2, negative 3.
What is the x-intercept?
3, negative 5. Then the x-intercept, well, we haven't found the x-intercept. We know that the x-intercept is going to be, from the look of this, somewhere between 0 and 1. But we could actually find it. What is it, April? What do you think the x-intercept would be?
No, I was just going to ask a question.
Yeah. Now, just quickly, we haven't been asked to find the x-intercept. I'm just going to pause it here. Now, just quickly, the question George asked was, is the x-intercept a half? That is exactly right, is a half. But we can't find out from here. We'd actually have to find... Now, when y equals 0, that's the x-intercept, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to find the x-intercept by letting y equal 0. So I'm going to substitute that in. 0 is equal to minus 2x plus 1. What do? I subtract 1 from both sides. Okay, so that's going to give me negative 1 is equal to negative 2x. And I've got to divide both sides by negative 2. So that's going to give me
0.5.
X is equal to a half or 0.5. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to continue and I'll leave that there, but what we want to do now is we want to be able to read off these coordinates and what are the x and y intercepts. Now, the x-intercept is when?
Y equals 0.
So therefore, what's the x-intercept here? X-intercept is equal to 2. Yes? And what's the y-intercept? Is equal to negative 4, and that's when x is equal to 0, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward, that one. Now, reading off the coordinates of the x. Now the x and the y-intercepts. Now, it says here coordinates, though. Now, coordinates means that we actually want to have coordinates. So what we're going to do this time is I'm going to say that the x-intercept is... Now, x comes before y, so negative 3, 0. That's this guy here. And the next one, y-intercept. Since x comes before y, what's going to be the coordinate? It's
9.
0 and
9.
9. Very good.
Sweet.
How are we feeling so far? Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? Good. So on your skills audit, the sort of things that... Oh, that's Louis C.K. We don't need that. I was listening to some comedy earlier. All right. So on your skills audit, where is it? Here. What can we do? Can we sketch coordinates on a Cartesian plane? Yes. Can we substitute x values into a linear equation? Yes. Can we find the equation of a linear relation when given a table of values? Yes, we should be able to do that. Now we're up to sort of rearranging a linear equation and identifying the gradient and things. So let's continue. This is the rearranging part. Remember how it says here, well, it says that y is equal to mx plus b. That's the format that we want to get it in. At the moment, it's not in that format. We want y as the subject. So how do we get y as a subject? George?
Take away u plus negative 2y to both sides.
Okay, so George, what he said is because that's negative 2y, he wants that positive, he's added 2y to both sides. Perfectly fine. Another thing you can do is just leave everything that's not y, you can just get it on the other side, but of course, yeah, you still have to deal with that negative. So I'm going to run with what George has said, and I'm going to add 2y to both sides, which is perfectly fine. What that gives me is 4x, the 2y's cancel out, and then it's 2y plus 6. Okay, so now what do? We want to, everything that's y, keep that as y, but the plus 6, we've got to deal with that, don't we?
Yeah.
So we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. Very good. Subtract 6 from both sides. So what we're left with is 4x minus 6 is equal to 2y. But we're not done yet, because what's the last step, Oscar? Well, y is multiplied by 2. What's the opposite of multiplying by 2? Dividing by 2. Very good. So what we're going to do is divide both sides by 2. Okay, and that's going to give me, and I'm going to get the y on the left-hand side. It just looks better for me. Now, 4x divided by 2 is 2x. So it's 2x minus 3. You're not always going to get a nice round whole numbers, but you are in this instance. Now that's the equation in y equals mx plus b form. M is just some constant plus b. So, and y of course is our subject.
What about the 6?
The 6.
When you do 4x, take away 6 divided by 2.
Yeah, so it's negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Yeah. Okay, so what we've got is it's this. 4x takes 6 divided by 2. I could split that fraction up into 2. 4x divided by 2 is 2x, and minus 6 divided by 2 is minus 3. It's the same thing. I'm just explaining how we got that in the first place. Natasha? So for this last one, we need to get in, this is the constant, i.e. the number. So we want to get the number on the one side and then the rest on the other. So what I'm going to do is, how do I isolate from the number to the other side? What am I going to do to both sides?
Okay, plus.
I'm going to add 3x to that side and add 3x to the other side. So what we've got is
But
y,
it's not in the form.
just one sec, y plus 3x is equal to 7. It is in the form because we've got ax is a is 3, b is 1, and d is 7. So that is in the form. We've got a coefficient of x of 3, coefficient of y is 1.
Is that the answer?
That's the answer. One step. Y plus 3x is equal to 7. That's your answer. All right.
Don't. Just go.
Yes, do it.
Okay, we're back in the room. All right. Now we've got to sketch, and that's, of course, very important. We've got to sketch, and we've got to sketch. I reckon the easiest way to sketch when you're first doing linear is using the intercepts.
Yep.
If you join the 2 points. So what we're going to do is, for this guy, we're going to go, okay, the x-intercept, we're going to let y equal 0. So what we're going to do is let y equal 0. So by letting y equal 0, therefore 2x minus 5 times 0, which we know is 0, is equal to minus 10. So that gives me 2x is equal to minus 10. X is equal to minus 5. So we've found the x-intercept. Now let's find the y-intercept. Y-intercept, let x equal 0. And then we need to solve for y. So we've got 2 times 0 minus 5 times y is equal to minus 10. So minus 5y, minus 5y is equal to minus 10. Dividing both sides by 5, that gives me y is equal to positive 2. Now I've found my intercepts, I can simply, and this will give you all the marks that you need, you're not going to drop any marks here. If you were to label this with coordinates would be nice, minus 5, 0, and let's say that's 2, 0, 2. Label the coordinates, join the lines, join the points. There you go. We've sketched that line now. It's got the x-intercept, it's got the y-intercept. You've marked the 2 points. We're not asking for gradients or anything like that yet. In fact, I could tell you, or we could discuss what the gradient is. But it's not a nice round number because, look, I go across 5. How many do I go up to? I go up 2. So remember you guys would recall rise over run?
Yeah.
How much does it rise?
2.
2. How much does it run?
5.
So therefore the rise over the run is 2 over 5. Okay, so it's a fraction. Can you see there that the gradient of that line isn't very steep? I probably really haven't drawn it to scale either. In fact, that 2 should be there and it shouldn't be as steep. Okay, if I drew that to scale, you'll see that line is actually under a 45% gradient. Do you guys recall it doing that self-directed task and then a 45% gradient was like y equals x? Yeah. Okay, and y equals 2x was a steeper gradient and so on and so forth. So in actual fact, that's probably not my greatest work because I probably rushed it a little bit. But you're not going to lose marks for that. But try to draw things to scale if you can. Okay, this is in y equals mx plus c form. So this should be easy. What does the c part mean? What is that?
And y-intercept.
It's the y-intercept. Very good. So the y-intercept, automatically, because it's in this y equals mx plus c form, we can get that straight away. So therefore the y-intercept equals 4. Which would make sense, because if I let x equal 0, what does y equal? Y equals 4.
Wow.
Yeah? So it's pretty straightforward. So I'm going to mark that y equals 4 here. But in order to sketch a graph, we won't do coordinates yet, but in order to sketch the graph, we need to find the x-intercept. And of course, the x-intercept is not as easy. We let y equal 0. Same thing. So we go 0 is equal to minus 2x plus 4. You could probably just guess what that would be. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2x to both sides. It is. So that's 2x is equal to 4. Divide both sides by 2. X is equal to 2. So there you go. We've got that. Now, and then I join the points. Now technically if I was labeling them with coordinates, it would be 2, 0 for the x-intercept. And I'm going to rub that 4 out and label with coordinates. So it's good practice to get into. 0, 4. And voila, we have drawn that graph. We've shown the 2 intercepts. We've shown our working. So if that was worth 3 marks, you get 1 mark for your working. 1 mark for your working. Maybe a mark for each intercept. 1, 2, 3.
Why do you say maybe?
Well, depending on the question. And finally, we looked at, this really sums linear up, doesn't it? Because let's having a look at sketching vertical and horizontal lines. Which one would x equals 3, would that be a vertical line or a horizontal line? A vertical line. Very good. So what we want to do is we want to find the x equals 3. They all have, by the way, what's the gradient of that line?
Undefined.
Undefined, very good, because it rises a lot, but it doesn't run anything. So if I was to divide by 0, your calculator would tell you that that's, undefined. And y equals minus 4 is just going to look like this. Yep, that's right. Y equals minus 4 is a horizontal line with a gradient of 0. Very good. Okay. So I reckon that pretty much sums up what you need to do in linear. It's not that bad. There's also the one sketching through the origin. Y equals 3x is just going to look like something like this. It's going to be quite steep, isn't it? What's the x and the y-intercept of y equals 3x? No, what's the x? It's 0. It goes through the origin. So therefore, you'd need to label that it goes through the origin. And what about y equals minus 2x? What are we going to notice about the shape?
It's negative.
It's going to be negative, isn't it? Why is it going to be negative? Because of this guy.
What number is that? Is it 0 to 0?
0, 0. Yeah, that's the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So it's got both x and y-intercept at the origin.
How do you know how to write it?
Sorry? So, getting back, y equals minus 2x. Very important. What a lot of students do is they draw through the origin, but they don't get the right gradient. Remember that what does y equals minus 2x mean? It means that the gradient,
There's no gradient.
the gradient is equal to negative 2. There's no y-intercept. Well, okay, the y-intercept is plus c, and c is 0. So therefore the y-intercept is 0. So the y-intercept is here, and what we know, is it going to be as steep as the other one?
Steeper.
Are you sure?
No, we left.
3x is steep. 3 is steeper than 2, isn't it?
Oh yeah, because
But it's
3 up.
less steep, and it's also going the other way. It has a negative gradient. So I certainly would. It might be something like this.
Yeah.
Okay, where the other one's steeper, and that has a x and y intercept at 0, 0 again. All right. Now that's enough for linear. I might stop here, and we'll go through the rest.